and welcome everyone to this edition of Tri Talks, where we take a few minutes to introduce an event that's taking place in the province of Alberta this coming summer. I'm your host, Sebastian Port, and I'm the Executive Director with Triathlon Alberta, and with me today is Shaun Richer, who is the event organizer for the Woody's Kids of Steel Triathlon and the Adult Triathlon. The Woody's Kids of Steel and Adult Triathlon takes place in Red Deer, and last year the events celebrated their 20th anniversary of the events. Shaun, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the Woody's race?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. The Woody Triathlon has been in existence for 20 years. Unfortunately, we had huge plans for our 20th race, but as we all know, that fell within COVID. And so we just kind of put that on the back burner, and we'll look forward to maybe the 25th or the 30th anniversary. But as Sebastian said, I am the race director for the Woody's Triathlon and have been for probably the past 5-6 years now. And just kind of started out as probably a lot of other people, started out as an athlete competing, and just progressed into volunteering, and then ultimately being the race director for this race.
What kind of gave you that inspiration to be a race director?
I think the biggest thing, I wasn't really looking for, being a race director specifically. For myself, being, from Red Deer in a smaller community, we rely heavily on volunteers, and I'm involved in quite a few different events. And so when this opportunity presented itself, it was just kind of a natural fit because, like I said, kind of volunteered, as I was the bike captain one year, it's kind of the run captain. And then when this popped up, it was kind of like, well, haven't taken on this big piece before, so why not? So
Yeah. The race has been around for 20 years. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of that history for the event, like how it got started? And
yeah, it's actually kind of funny because obviously the name says it all. It is the Woody's Triathlon. Without the support of Woody's RV World and really Woody Paler, this race would happen at all. And it's interesting to look back, all the venue changes, and what's happened with the race, how it's evolved, to where it's at right now. It's a fairly well-known race within Alberta. We're quite proud of the amount of kids that we see. Any year, we'll have anywhere from say 300 to 400 kids, all the way from as young as 5 to obviously to your juniors to 15, 16. So yeah, it's got a lot of history, a lot of different venue changes throughout the city. And again, without the city, this wouldn't be possible either, because lots of changes in 20 years.
Absolutely. You mentioned you're offering it from kids to the juniors, and then there are the adults as well, like on the Sunday. What type of distances do you have that you're kind of offering for everybody?
Yeah, it's it's probably a little bit of everything. What we really have tried to do with this race is that it is over a full weekend. So of course our kids race is on the Saturday, and then we kind of transition everything over to Sunday for the to the adults. But for the kids, it's anywhere from, like I said, 5 to 15. So depending on what your age group is that you do have various distances. Because of course, you're not going to have a 5-year-old that's going to race, a distance like a 15-year-old. So there's that nice progression that we follow, the model from Triathlon Canada. And then, like I said, then we go into Sunday. So we'll have our juniors, which is our 16 to 19-year-olds. And they'll do like the sprint distance, just like our adults. And then what we've introduced probably the last few years is the relay race, as well as a tri, which essentially is kind of like a half of what a sprint distance is. And our thought there is that we would give an opportunity for people that are interested in triathlon, really not knowing what it's all about. And we feel with those shorter distances, it's something that they can kind of just test the waters and see what the sport is like.
Oh, that's really good. I like the whole aspect of it, like offering every little bit to be introduced to the sport.
Yeah, and I think there's a misconception out there. People see, the big races on television, the iconic Ironman and, some of these longer distance, and people just think, well, that's what triathlon is.
Mhm.
And it certainly isn't. And that's where, you'll find a lot of the local races within Alberta
Mhm.
that have these smaller distances for people to try the sport.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. What are some of like those other key pieces of information for participants as well as some of those parents that might want to, sign up for your race?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is obviously, we're about to set it up right now. Again, with COVID, it hasn't happened for the last little while, but again, just on that whole participation and just getting the kids involved, that's what we really pride ourselves on. And definitely without the kids getting into the sport, there's going to be no longevity. So one of the things that we've started in the last few years is our own kids training camp.
Mhm.
And it's certainly not anything too crazy. It's literally just an opportunity for kids to come to the pool.
Mhm.
There's 3 different times they can sign up on our website. But with these training camps, it's essentially, 6 or 7 weeks leading up to the race.
Mhm.
Not necessarily do they have to do the race, but it gives them, again, an opportunity to see what the swim is like,
Mhm.
jump in the pool with our volunteers, see what their swim distance is, dependent on what their age group. Then
Mhm.
we run outside and then do some biking and running. And
Mhm.
again, it's on the exact same course as what the race has.
Mhm.
So again, giving them an opportunity to see what it's like, kind of in a low key atmosphere.
Mhm.
And again, just to get those kids out there being
Yeah,
active.
yeah, it's like a course familiarization that the elites go through, and then
It really is. It's kind of a long familiarization, like I said, for 6 or 7 weeks, but
Mhm.
it does give, especially these kids that jump from school sports to maybe hockey or football or, more of those conventional sports into something like this where they may not necessarily, be involved in on a regular basis.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Shaun, and I'm sure we'll see you out this summer at the races.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time and, I appreciate having the opportunity to talk to you today.
Thank you.